Skip it up and that up. What's going on, folks? This is Rich of Review Tech USA, and today I have a very special guest with me, Jay from what is now your show called, actually.
It's called JKB.
JKB, formerly known as 3KB. He does phenomenal reviews with insane production value over at his channel. I'll have a link to it below in the description. I strongly recommend that you check it out. And Jay and I have wanted to do this video for a very long time because Jay was a former employee. Actually, I believe you were a manager there, Jay, correct?
Correct.
Of GameStop. And he has war stories that he's wanted to talk about publicly for a very long time. And due to different schedules, we haven't had time to do it. But now we do. So most of this video, you're going to hear Jay talking about what he went through as a manager at GameStop. And we're all going to sit and listen and probably shit our pants. So, Jay, I'm going to hand the mic off to you, and you can begin. He has 3 stories that he wants to tell us.
First of all, I'm naked, so...
That's me too.
Okay, good.
I look much better naked than Jay, by the way, but continue.
I agree. I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. It's amazing what you're doing over here. So, I have 3 stories that I want to share with you, and the reason I'm doing this is not to be like, oh, I've got these 3 cool stories about working there and blah, 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 and I'm cool for telling these things. I'm doing this because I want people to know what actually happened. Like, these are 100% true, not making anything up here. So, I'm going to start small. You know, when you go into the store nowadays, and they're telling you, hey, pre-order, 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 pre-order. Back in the day when I worked there, this was around when Grand Theft Auto Vice City came out. Our team, and I don't know how much detail I want to give on names and stuff, but I'm just going to say it was in Mississauga, Ontario, in a very large mall. So if you could figure that out, you'll know where it was. I was working the counter as at the time, I don't think I was a manager yet, but they would tell us, like, okay, we're going to try these new things, pre-orders. What you have to do is basically get the person to drop some money on the game. That way they guarantee the game when it comes out, but also the person will come back to our store, and then you can upsell them. So in business, that's a normal thing to do. And I thought, okay, that's kind of brilliant. We're going to do pre-orders. So they had this huge push for pre-orders. So of course, our store was #1 in Canada because I was there. And I'm not being an egomaniac, but I am because I'm incredible at sales. And the long story short for this one is we had 1,300 pre-orders in our store only for Vice City. Now, this is the good part. After the pre-orders were done, they contacted us, head office, and they said, you guys did an amazing job. Holy shit, how did you do this? Well, what I had done was I printed out fake/real based on the artwork that was released at the time, but my own covers, and we put them in DVD covers and we put them on the shelves. Now, no other store was doing that. This will come back to haunt me in the end, but no other store was doing this, so that's how we got the pre-orders. People would come in and go, oh my god, what is this? What is this? And we'd say, it's a new Vice City. And I have to own it. Okay, $5 down, you pre-order, it guarantees you a copy. So, long story short, comes out, I'd say about 1,200 people picked it up. Now here's where the shady shit comes in. Head office calls us about, I don't know, 3 weeks later, and they say, how many pre-orders did not pick up? Okay, let me look. So I look through the list, call them back, about 100, I'd say. Okay, cool. Well, you know, Super Mario Sunshine's coming out, and we'd like you to try to do the same thing. And I said, cool, I'll make a cover. So we do that. Pre-orders are not going so well. I go, okay, this is interesting. They call again. Hey, you know the 100 pre-orders, can you just move them over to Super Mario Sunshine?
Oh my god.
And I think to myself, I don't know. What are you talking about? You want me to physically move the money in the computer to a new game to bump the numbers of the pre-orders to help your stock for this store? And I thought, I don't know if this is right or not. Oh no, well, you have to call the people. And I go, okay, well, what, you want me to call 100 people right now and just say, do you want to transfer your money over to this game? And at first I thought, okay, that makes sense. If I call them and they say no, that's fine. But lo and behold, 2 weeks later, All 100 pre-orders were on Super Mario Sunshine without me even doing it
Because they want their numbers to look.
because
Oh
they wanted their numbers
wow.
bumped. So this is when I started to realize that okay, they're not playing by the books here. They're doing a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't say that that right there was the end of the world, but I mean, can you imagine, Rich, you come into the store and go, "Hey, I want to take my $5 back." Okay, cool. Well, it's on this game. Well, I didn't pre-order that game. Like, how would you feel about that? You'd be like, "Why is my money on this other game?" It's kind of weird.
And they would want you to, damage control and say, "Oh, there must have been a bug in the computer," or
Well, to be honest, here's the best part about that. We would clear out the numbers every once in a while. So we would get so many pre-orders in our store that once it hit a certain amount of like say 200 pre-orders just sitting there and they've been there for like 9 months, we would just not refund the money. We would just keep it all and delete all the pre-orders after a certain amount of time.
oh, that's fucked up. I didn't know
So
that.
yeah, they do that. So if you just leave your money in there for too long, I don't know what it's like nowadays, but back then, I'm telling you, 110%, your money would just disappear. They would call you and say you have money, and if you didn't get back to them, they would actually take the money. Like it would be just gone.
So free money for doing absolutely nothing.
Absolutely. So that's when I started to realize, okay, this is weird. With the customer side of things, I thought this is a little weird. I mean, if I was a customer and I dropped $5, came in, and it was on a different game, I'd kind of question why that happened. So moving forward, now I'm moving up in the company and I'm starting to get onto conference calls. And how can I explain this? So every time there's a new sponsorship deal, which let's just use Mad Cats for example, Mad Cats would say, okay, you need to do this, this, this in your store, which would mean you need to call people, or say when people call in, you need to say this. When people come into the store, you need to say this. The front of the store, the displays need to look like this. And you need to sell this product for us. So there was a list that you have to go through. And of course, we would go through the list and make sure all the employees were doing that. So Mad Cats, for instance, would buy the store for a month, and that's how that would work. So I think like WB would buy the store when the Matrix games were coming out, they bought the store for a month. And that's a common thing. So if you go to EB and you see a certain poster up, they've obviously paid to have that there. That's not just randomly there because we're saying, hey, this game's coming out. They've actually paid to have that stuff there, especially in the front windows if you have a front display in a window like in a mall. Now, Mad Cats, personally, back in the day, I hated them because I worked there and so many of them came back broken. So I wasn't a huge fan of this. And the fact is, if you work there, you need to push it. Like, there's no doubt about it. If you work there, you need to push a product. Even if, and I knew this, the controllers would break. So there was a high defective rate in this certain controller for the original Xbox and the PS2. I absolutely hated selling them. So when you answer the phone, you'd have to say, home of Mad Cats or whatever the hell it would be. Now, I knew this. This was Christmas time that so many of them were coming back. Like literally almost, I'd say 33% or 30% of them were coming back. Like almost a whole third would just show back up in the store broken. And we'd have to either exchange it or, and I have to deal with this every week. Now, here's the best part. I get on the conference call one day, and this is to the district manager and the regional manager. And I'm quoting them on saying this. I say, we've got so many of these Mad Catz controllers back, and they keep breaking. They keep breaking, and I don't know what to do with these things. Like, they say, and I quote, because all the other managers from the region are on the line. So I'm not just the only one there. There's about 16 people. And I'm the only one that has the balls to say anything about it. And I say, well, Mad Catz is horrible. They keep breaking, and like I don't know how to push these things anymore because they just keep coming back, and it's a horrible experience for the customer. And I quote from the disc manager and the other managers, "We don't care. We don't care if it's breaking. We don't care." Like I got in shit afterwards for saying that on that call.
Oh
And
my
they said,
god.
"Yeah, we don't care that they're breaking because we don't actually have to deal with that. We send them back." They would rather the cost. It's like in car insurance. If a certain amount of cars crash and the payout, from Fight Club, that famous line, If it's more expensive to deal with the customers, for instance, say a certain amount of customers are complaining and they want, say, a $20 gift card. If less of that, and if it's cheaper to just ship the product back to Mad Catz than pay the customer out, they'll do that. So in business, that works in every business. So they literally were like, it's cheaper for us to just take the controllers back, send them back to Mad Catz, and get whatever in exchange than paying out the customer. Because a lot of people don't realize, if you are, here's another little secret, just a side secret. If you're not happy with your experience, you call the phone number at the front of the store, guaranteed almost you will get some sort of gift card or $5 gift card or something small. But back in the day, they used to give much bigger things. So right there, again, they didn't care about the customer. They cared about the budget of the store. They were like, well, how much are you sending back? Okay, and they would do the math on that, and they realized that they didn't need to pull the product out of the store. They needed to just ship it back and deal with the customers on a one-to-one basis. So that's the number two shady thing that I had to deal with at the store.
So they made you push a broken product because
Absolutely.
it would still be in their financial interest by
Yeah, they didn't care. They didn't care that they didn't care you as a customer, the people listening to this, they did not care if you came in, bought a broken product. Even if they thought, oh, they're all okay, whatever, maybe only one or two would break. No, there was a shit ton of these controllers breaking every day. Every day I would hear something from another manager saying, you would not believe what I had to deal with today. And it just kept getting worse. And as it got worse, they would push us even harder to sell the product. Because guess what? Mad Catz bought the company for that month. So you could not get out of it.
yeah, and because they bought the company and that I guess them buying the company for that month was profitable to GameStop, they would want you to push the product no matter what.
Absolutely. Even for games that... Here's the thing about GameStop. You go in there and you go, hey, how's this game? You can't trust it because when The Matrix came out for PS2, Enter the Matrix, I hated the game. I hated it. So I played the game, and it was around Christmas time from what I remember. And this is the thing. I used to say to them, what do we do in the case of, like, The Matrix WB is paid for us to talk about this game in the store, but I think it's horrible. What do you do? Well, you don't give your personal opinion on that then. Well, what if somebody asks me if it's good or not? Well, you just tell them it's The Matrix, so of course it's good. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, because, movie-based games are always known for being excellent.
Exactly. So they
Oh,
would say
God.
they would say find one feature of the game that you really enjoyed. Well, I go, okay, I guess the cinematic story that they put in there because they shot extra footage while filming The Matrix. They put that in the game. So if you're a fan of The Matrix, you're going to see more of the film. Okay, yeah, that. Use that to sell the game. And it's like, but the game's horrible. Well, no, you just said that's good, right? So use that. That was their mentality for everything. Everything.
Yeah, upsell a shit. Yeah, you upsell a shit product, which unfortunately happens in a lot of businesses. But that's just something is shit, and you're still trying to throw it out the door.
Now,
Wow.
here's the thing here's the kicker, the one that I've been saving for last, and I'm not going to use his real name because I don't want people to find this guy. If they found him, it would not be pretty. But there was a district manager. He was the worst of the worst, just a piece of shit. He'd come in the store, and he was Hitler. Like, if the store wasn't done in a certain way, and blah blah blah. Now, I said earlier when I created the custom cover and put it up, this was before EB would even send us any promotional materials for upcoming games. I made a Nintendo one for Super Mario Sunshine, and the Nintendo rep came in and said, oh my god, this is incredible. I haven't seen this anywhere. Can I take this? Like, they loved it so much, and they sent me a bunch of, like, plushies and a thank you and all this stuff, which was really cool at the time because I was pushing their game, and it was a Mario game, and I knew that it would be at least decent at the time. We had a lot of pre-orders, so that worked out for the best. Now, this asshole, why he's an asshole is he took my idea. He didn't say it was my idea, and within a week, my cover, without my permission, was in all of the stores. He actually had taken my cover that I created in our store and just literally photocopied it or whatever the hell he did, scanned it in and printed it in all of the stores. So now all the stores are using my method, and he didn't even give me any credit for it. So this is when I knew that we're dealing with an asshole. The second time I knew is he's coming in the store constantly, and he's just a complete, power Nazi. He thinks he runs the show, even though we're the people getting the numbers, we're getting the sales, we're number one in Canada. We're actually number two in the world. We were number one in the whole world for Super Mario Sunshine for pre-orders. In fact, so much so that Miyamoto sent us a signed copy, and I still have that today.
Oh, wow.
Because we had the most in the world, literally in the world, in Toronto, Canada here. And that was mostly in part because of the game, of course, but also we knew how to sell it. Like, it was simple. It was, we were just good salesmen. Now, this asshole steals my cover. That's one thing. Whatever. That's not really the end of the world. The end of the world is this. We're dealing with theft in the store at the time. So somebody's stealing. We don't know who is stealing. It definitely sure as shit is not me, and it's not the other manager. I trust this guy. There's no reason him and I would steal. We would never steal anything. One day we're working. Actually, I could tell you exactly what day this was because it's, part of the details of the story. February 14th, I forget the year. But I'll never forget it because this asshole district manager comes in with the Sega Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast just recently was released maybe 9 months ago or whenever it went bust. He comes in with it, no receipt, no nothing. He's got nothing on him. He goes, I'd like to return this. Not trade it in, not get store credit, or whatever the hell it was at the day. I'd like to return this for the full amount that it cost to buy.
What?
Yeah, this district manager wants to return his fucking Dreamcast to the store for the complete amount. And I'm thinking, well, number one, this is kind of illegal because you don't have a receipt. Or not, maybe not illegal, but we're breaking some sort of rule here, and I don't want to be part of this. And he's an asshole, and I don't like him. Well, no, Jay, just return it. Okay, well, I'm thinking, he's pressuring me now. He's pressuring me. Like, you're going to return this for me, or you're going to have to deal with it. And I'm thinking, like, I just don't want to do this. So we get into a tiny bit of an argument, because, again, he's an asshole. In the long run of things, he literally comes behind the till using my ID in the store, because I'm the manager, returns the Dreamcast, leaves the store with the money in hand, like he takes cash out of the till, which was around $200 and whatever dollars, leaves. Now, I'm not a rat. I'm not the type of Italian person who... I bring up Italian because I think mob and rats and, I'm not a rat. So I'm thinking, like, what do I do in this situation where I know this asshole just broke the rules and I don't know what to do about it?
I would have blew up his spot without even thinking twice. Fuck it.
Well,
I'm not going to jail for that piece of shit.
It's
But
going to get
continue.
good. It's going to get good for you guys. But the end of the story is not the best. But he shows back up again, literally, in the same day with games. He's got games now. And they're brand new, sealed. Wants to return those as well.
What?
And I'm thinking, yeah, he does. I couldn't believe this. This is where I got him, though, and you're going to like this. There's $5 left over because he's buying another game with the game. He's buying some special edition of, like, World of Warcraft something. He's got $5 and change left over from this transaction. And, of course, I'm not going to give him the money for this. I go, hey, Steve. Whoops. I just said his name, but... I goes, whatever, Steve, why don't you just pre-order the new Wind Waker? I'll just put your money on Wind Waker. And he goes, yeah, whatever. And this is where he doesn't realize that now I have the transaction date of him returning it. I have him on camera returning it without a receipt. And now his money that's left over is on the game in the computer. Boom, I got him.
Yeah,
right?
you did. Yeah.
I got him. He's not thinking. He's thinking, oh, I'll just help the numbers in the store. Now, this is while things are going missing in the store. Things are just disappearing and nobody knows what's going on.
I already know where this is going, but continue.
Now, I personally, and the other manager, and I swear on my grandmother's, everybody in my family, never took anything from that store ever. Never did, never would. There's no reason for it. I like my job. Did I know who was stealing? Absolutely not. Now, it gets to the point where things are going missing at such a high rate in our store that they bring in the loss prevention manager. And this is where it gets a little bit interesting, and this is how sort of an internal workings of how EB and GameStop work. They don't care if you're telling the truth. At this point in time, they will fire the whole staff and refresh the store with new staff if they think that it's somebody obviously on staff. So, of course, they thought it was somebody on our staff working in the store. So I get called into a meeting, and it's Steve and the loss prevention guy are in this room, and I'm thinking, oh, here we fucking go. This is going to be great. I could finally rat him out. And they start asking me questions. And they pull up all of these transactions I did. So, for instance, I bought a Game Boy SP and I returned it at our store from another store. I bought it randomly and I got my discount over there and I returned it at our store. And it was fully within the rules. So I can tell they're poking at me. They're kind of saying like, well, why did you return it, Jay? Why did you... Like, they're trying to get me to slip up or something and say something like, oh, God, I'm the person who's... Like, I'm not... This is getting fucking ridiculous now. So I go, Steve... Why don't we check the receipts for February 14th and see who's, let's see what happened that day. And the loss prevention manager goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, I think Steve would like to tell you about the time that he did all of this stuff. Because now I'm being pushed into a situation where they're trying to blame me for all this theft, and I've got him on camera and a date and everything. This is the kicker and what you're dealing with managers at EB Games and GameStop. And this is why you can't trust... I can't trust anybody that works there anymore, because we went to the paperwork, and guess what? Guess what, Rich? February 14th, the paperwork is mysteriously missing.
Disappeared.
Out of all of the paperwork that we have to save for 7 years, we actually have to save every transaction on paper for 7 years in the back of the store. And the whole box for February, the whole box, is mysteriously missing.
He was covering his tracks. He was covering his ass.
He's covering his fucking ass. So now I go to the computer. I go, hang on a second. I go to the computer. Pre-order's gone. No detail of that receipt ever. Nothing is there anymore. I go, let's go to the tape, because we record into a recording software thing on the computer in the back room. Let's go. Oh no, February 14th is mysteriously not recorded for some reason.
They had to give him some red flags, though.
Yes, it did. It did give them red flags, thankfully, but it wasn't enough proof. There was no proof ever. So, after a while, they found out who was stealing, and it was actually it was Steve, this guy Steve, just stealing from the store. And the problem with this is, I don't know how much stuff was stolen. And the other thing is, how many times did he go in our computers and deal with customer transactions, like actual pre-order money? Why was he so desperate for money? And it brings up all these questions. Did he ever steal money from the pre-orders that you remember I said earlier that were sitting there? Where did that money really go? I know that it folds into the company, but who's to say that this guy didn't just take that money, cancel the pre-orders, and take the money? Like, at this point in time, he could have done anything.
Yeah, seriously.
So these aren't like, that right there is just, to me, ridiculous. And I don't know how, to this day, that company is still going. And the best part about all of this is when EB Games was in Canada here, we were so scared of GameStop coming over and coming in and actually putting up stores next to ours. This is the best part. The amount of shit that was talked about GameStop, just coming into the country was ridiculous. And then GameStop comes over, and all of a sudden EB loves them. Like, it's all business, and people don't realize this. And that's why I wanted to come and kind of tell these stories about these companies. Like, it's just, you think you're going there to build a rapport, but I know, and here's the thing. I know that there are very nice people that work at these stores, and you probably go in there and you have a great time with them. I'm not saying that every single person that works at these stores is the enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course not.
I'm saying that you need to just you need to pay attention for the signs. There's signs that you will see if this person is being legit with you or just trying to sell you something. And you know how the gaming community is very vocal and we're a community, right? That's why I wanted to come on here and just give you that sort of warning that you might. I guarantee there's somebody out there right now that goes into these stores and thinks they're talking to their friend, quote unquote friend at the store, and this friend is just there to sell you shit and upsell you things and get pre-orders out of you and all of that stuff. Like I guarantee it. I guarantee somebody out there is like that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing too, is because I've worked in, and I'm not defending GameStop by any means whatsoever. That whole regional manager thing. I've worked at a few other jobs. I can't say so many, but a few other jobs. That shit like that always seems to happen. Now, did he eventually get fired for something else stupid? I'm sure he did.
No, eventually I think he took some sort of deal and left the company because I'm pretty sure it wasn't just our store that was dealing with his nonsense.
Yeah, and they were like, okay, we can't prove what you're doing, but we know what you're doing, so we want you to get the fuck out of here. So since we can't prove it and we just want you gone, we'll give you probably like a 6-month severance package or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure of exactly what happened to this guy. I tried to look into that because after all of that exploded, I lost my trust in the company. And to be honest here, Blockbuster at the time was headhunting managers because they were opening up their own video game stores, which failed miserably, and that's a whole other story. But
yeah, it did.
They asked me to be a manager at the Game Rush store for Blockbuster, but I ended up going over there because it was more money and it was a better deal. But I never did find out what happened to him, so who knows where this guy's floating around right now. But that's it, man. I just wanted to come on and say these things for once because I've been sort of sitting on them for years.
I think we'll end the video with this, is that a lot of these brick and mortar stores like GameStop and Best Buy and all, they wonder why everyone's kind of going over to online. And it's the obvious things like shopping on Amazon's easier. I could sit there in my boxers and scratch my nuts and order a TV. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's other crap like this. When you go into the stores, and I'm not saying you, I'm sure you did give good customer service from how it sounds, but you go into the stores and you hear stories like this, and you go in and you get crappy customer service. Like I was at not my usual Best Buy, I was at where they're great, but I was at a different one, and I got meh customer service. Mm-hmm. It's because of things like this, and because people are like, if I'm not going to get what I really want out of the store, and I'm not going to get the customer service they want, and I hear shit like this, why am I even going to waste my time there? So it's a combination of crappy customer service and shady business practices. I've heard crap like that before with pre-orders. It just turns people off to it. If these stores were on the up and up and they gave the right customer service, I'm not saying that they still wouldn't become irrelevant, but at least would take a hell of a lot longer. But
no, totally. I think that these stores are in deep shit. Yeah. I think that they only have a certain amount of time left over, and that's why they're really. I was in the store last week buying Lego, Jurassic World Lego, and of course, if you've not been in there for a while, the first thing they do is say, "I'm going to recommend that you get a warranty on the disc."
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to recommend you shut up and just sell me the game because. First of all, this is a Blu-ray disc, and the chances of it really getting scratched are slim to none. I mean, I've kicked a Blu-ray on the floor on cement to test this out long ago. Nothing happens to the disc. You really have to lay into these discs. So why would they even think that's a good practice to do? You know why? Because people are like sheep. In sales, people are sheep. They, if you... you wouldn't believe what I've done in sales. I've done things in sales. It's ridiculous. People are sheep. You have to be more aware of the situation you're in.
And they'll threaten you with your job too. I've been there. Oh, if you don't sell this warranty for the disc, then you may not be here. Yeah,
absolutely.
If you don't improve your numbers, we'll have to have a talk next month.
No, totally. That is totally part of how they manipulate you as an employee. It's, if I was working there and I wanted to have a good time, I'd have them saying, "Hey, have you tried to pre-order this game or sell these pre-orders?" And of course I've tried, and I've done. Okay, you're doing a good job. Let's just try to find the people that really want the game. That's what you really need to do. You need to find people that are excited about this game. And how do you do that? You don't sell them a product they don't understand. You tell them what the product is, and if they really want it, then they will take it. That's how good sales work. Like, I would never push somebody into pre-ordering something based on the fact that I want my numbers.
And the thing is that the poor employees there, like even my GameStop too. I mean, the two ones I go to, yeah, there's good employees there, and I have nothing against the employees there. They're actually good guys, but
Oh, totally.
they ask you $6 billion. I actually mentioned this in a video fairly recently. They ask you $6 billion. You want to pre-order this? What about that? You want to get the protection on the disc? I'm like, dude, I just want to go. I got what
No,
I wanted
it's getting
to.
so desperate. It's so desperate in there. Just, can you give us anything? Can you please just give us anything, like a penny, or like a quarter, anything, because we're dying. We need your money.
Then they have the regional managers that come down and try to unleash hell on you because they want, they're looking to make their numbers to make their bonus. It's
No,
the
totally. That exactly is. You hit it on the head. Those district managers have bonuses, and if they don't hit the bonus numbers, they don't get it. It's that simple. You're totally right.
And those bonus numbers sometimes could be like half their salary too.
No, it actually is a lot of money, especially, and it comes around Christmas time. So the companies aren't stupid. They plan these things. Oh, this guy's got a family and kids. Move his bonuses to, say, December 1st. They know what they're doing. This isn't a bunch of people who just woke up and rolled out of bed. These people are manipulating a system. That's as simply as it is in any sales. And I know there's a lot of people saying, like, right now, "Oh, well, that's how sales work," and that is how sales work. That's how money is the number one thing. So,
but it's also, to me, what's gonna, and maybe it's unfortunately a good thing, is going to kill these brick and mortar stores because people are just, down from the employees to the customers, are just getting sick of the bullshit.
oh no, it's 110%. I mean, if you live in Canada, you would know right now. Target tried to come over here, and they offered the worst customer service. They had to shut down. They lost millions of dollars. The Gap in Canada is shutting down. Like, we don't have the Gap. Future Shop, I don't know if you guys have that in the States, and Best Buy are owned by the same company. They shut down every single Future Shop over here, and a bunch of clothing stores. Like, retail is going under, and I think part of it is, obviously, the internet is number one. But number two is it comes down to customer service. And if you don't give the proper customer service, you're not going to last. It's that simple. I mean, that's an extremely simple term.
Well, thank you for giving me this dose of reality on how. Now, is EB Games still EB Games up there, or is it GameStop now?
No, they switch them all over. I think that happened like many years ago. You know why? You know why it took them so long? Because they didn't want to pay for the money to switch the signs out. It actually cost around $35,000 to $40,000 to build GameStop signs. I'm not making this shit up. And they had to pay around $35,000 to $40,000 per store to get the custom signs put in, and that's with the old sign coming down. And that's how much they had to pay every location. So, I'm being honest there. That is why they didn't switch it over right away, because they didn't have the budget
to pay for all the signs, to pay
it was like
reskin the stores, basically.
Yeah, it was like over a few $1 million to do that just in Canada alone. So they were like, there can be two companies. What's the big deal?
Wow. It's interesting stuff. When you find out what goes on behind the scenes, it's pretty amazing.
I mean, the thing is, there's more stories. I have tons of stories with just how customers are dealt with. They're just sheep to the company, and unfortunately, they're numbers. And this. I'm going to end it with this. If you ever go into, and again, I want to say this. I don't have anything against everybody that works at this company. So I just want to make that clear. There are very nice, normal, regular people there that are not hell-bent on selling you bullshit. Definitely. There's nice people out there, but I just want you to be careful. And number two, if you ever deal with a situation that you feel is not pleasant within that store, and it could be even the slightest thing, like if somebody's just rude to you, You don't need to take that bullshit. You just don't need to do it. All you need to do is call that phone number that's on the little plaque that's in every store, and they actually will take care of you. And that's one good thing about the company, because there's a whole division of people that answer the phone who are paid to give you money. So if you have an issue, you call them. You just tell them what happened in the store, and they will actually take care of you. And that's actually one of the plus things. So in closing, don't deal with the shit there. And if you've had any negative experiences, I'd love to read them in the comments below, because I'm sure a lot of you have, and even Rich, you've had shitty experiences as well.
Even outside of GameStop, I have. So, all right, Jay, thank you for coming on. This will be an awesome video, and you gave a ton of very interesting stories. And we'll have Jay on for a sequel. How about that? But we're gonna probably a couple weeks or maybe in a month from now, we'll have him come back and give us some more war stories. So, Jay, thanks for coming on. And
Thanks, man.
And as always, guys, make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.